A woman at the mall demanded I hand over my shopping bags because she deserved them more. When I refused, she grabbed them and screamed, "I saw it first, so it's mine." As security arrived, she smirked, "They'll believe a mother over you." I pulled out my receipt and said, "Then let's see what they say about theft." I never thought I'd actually post here. But after what happened last year, I feel like this fits perfectly. It's long, but every part matters. This took place at Willowbrook Mall in Houston, Texas, a place I used to go to just relax. Now, every time I pass it, I remember this whole chaotic mess. So, this happened not long after I got a nice work bonus. It had been a rough year, divorce finally done, house to myself again, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like me again. I wanted to treat myself. Nothing crazy. Just some clothes, skincare stuff, and if I saw a decent handbag on sale, maybe I'd pick it up. It was a Saturday afternoon. Mall was busy but not packed. I went to Sephora, grabbed a few skincare things, hit Bath and Body Works, picked up candles, those 3-wick ones were on sale, and then wandered into Macy's. Now, Macy's had a sign out front, "Clearance, handbags 40% off." Jackpot. I wasn't even in the store to buy a bag, but I figured I'd just look. Ended up finding 2 beautiful bags, one Coach, one Michael Kors, and a limited edition Coach wallet. Altogether, they rang up cheaper than what just one bag normally costs. The woman at the register was sweet. We joked about treating yourself, and she even complimented the wallet, saying they'd just put it out that morning. Anyway, I paid. Full receipt. All bagged up. I had 4 bags total: Sephora, Bath and Body Works, Macy's, and Zara. That's when it all started. I was walking through the main hallway heading toward the garage when I felt someone bump into me, hard. It wasn't an accident. It felt intentional. I turned and saw this woman, mid-30s maybe, dragging a little boy around 3 years old. She looked furious before I even said anything. She pointed right at my Macy's bag and said, loud enough for people nearby to hear, "That's mine." I saw it first. I stared, confused. Me, sorry? What? Her, that Coach bag. You took it. I had my eye on it. I stepped away for 1 second because my son dropped his toy. You stole it. Now, I'd been at that display for at least 5 full minutes. Nobody else around. Definitely no one holding or looking at that bag. It had been hanging on the rack. I tried to be polite. Me, I bought this. It wasn't in anyone's hands. I've got the receipt right here. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out the long Macy's receipt and held it up. She didn't even look at it. Just stepped closer, almost nose to nose with me. Her voice changed. She went from yelling to this weird fake sweet voice. You don't need that bag. You're not even a mom. I can tell. You're just some lady walking around, spending money on yourself. I have a child. I deserve it more. I said nothing for a second. I couldn't believe she really just said that. I thought maybe it was some weird prank or she was unwell. But no, she was deadly serious. I wasn't going to argue with her about who deserved a handbag more. Me, ma'am, I paid for it. You're not taking my stuff. Her fake sweet face dropped instantly. She looked like she was about to explode. Then, out of nowhere, she grabbed 2 of my bags, my Macy's bag and my Bath and Body Works one, and yanked them out of my hand. I was so stunned I didn't even react fast enough. She turned and started speed walking away like she hadn't just straight up robbed me in front of people. And while walking away she yelled, "It's mine. I saw it first, so it's mine." People stopped and stared. Some backed away. One older guy just stood there with his mouth open. A few teenage girls near the H&M were filming on their phones. This woman was now dragging her screaming kid and my bags like she owned the damn place. I called out, "That's theft." Someone stop her. She spun around and shouted, "You're harassing a mother. Back off." Then she looked me dead in the eyes, smirked, and said, "They'll believe a mother over you." I'll never forget that smirk. Now I was shaking, but not crying. Not panicking. I was furious. I walked quickly toward her. I wasn't going to touch her or anything, but I followed close behind. That's when a worker from Sephora, who had seen the whole thing, came out with a walkie-talkie. "Sephora employee, you okay? Should I call security?" Me, "Yes. She just took my shopping bags. I have my receipts. She's saying she deserves them more." She immediately started talking into the walkie. I didn't even need to say much. She'd seen everything. About a minute later, mall security showed up. Big dude. Calm energy. Let's call him Security Chad. He walked right up to the woman, who was now standing by the kid play area with my bags looped over her stroller handle. "Chad, ma'am, I've had reports you took someone's property. Do you have proof of purchase?" She instantly went into panic fake victim mode. This lady started yelling at me. She scared my child. I had these in my cart and stepped away for 2 seconds. She took them. I was just taking back what's mine. Security Chad looked over at me. I held up my Macy's receipt. Then my Bath and Body Works one. Me, here's the receipt. I bought those bags less than 10 minutes ago. He looked at her. Chad, do you have a receipt for either of these? She fumbled. Looked through her massive fake designer purse. Came up empty. I don't know where it went. My son had it. It must have fallen out. Chad, so you don't have proof you bought these? She started to stammer, then switched tactics again. It's not about receipts. It's about doing what's right. I have a child. What kind of person refuses to help a mother? I swear she tried to make it sound like I was withholding baby formula, not a discounted Coach bag. That's when Chad said the golden words, "We'll need to call the police." She lost it. I'm being harassed. This is discrimination. I'm a single mother. Security didn't flinch. He radioed for mall PD support. While we waited, she kept yelling, holding her kid close like I was some dangerous criminal. She even tried crying. Loud, dramatic sobs, saying she was being targeted, and how this was exactly what's wrong with the world. The crowd was still there. People recording. Watching. Then, 2 Houston PD officers arrived. One of them, Officer Ruiz, approached us and started sorting the situation. He asked me for my version. I calmly explained it all again and showed both receipts. Then he turned to her. Same questions. Ruiz, do you have receipts? No, I told you, I lost them. Ruiz, so, at this moment, you're holding merchandise you can't prove you purchased, that another customer has receipts for. She started to cry again. Please don't do this in front of my son. Ruiz didn't argue. He took the bags from the stroller and compared the SKU codes with my receipt. Perfect match. Ruiz, ma'am, I'm placing you under arrest for theft and creating a disturbance. And right as he started to cuff her, she screamed at the top of her lungs, "You're all monsters. This system is broken." She's a liar. Her kids screamed louder. She flailed. Ruiz called for backup. So, she's screaming. I'm standing there with Ruiz and Chad, watching this grown woman lose her mind in the middle of the mall while handcuffed. Her kid's still crying, but at this point, even he looks like he's over it. Security starts trying to clear the crowd. People don't want to leave. One guy says, "Yo, I came here for pretzels, not live episodes of Jerry Springer." The police walk her outside, and she's yelling things like, "You'll all regret this. I'm suing the mall. I'll take your job and yours too." She pointed at Ruiz. He didn't even blink. Once she was out of sight, Ruiz gave me back my bags and asked if I wanted to press charges. I said yes. I didn't even hesitate. Not because I'm mean. Not because I wanted to ruin her life. But because she tried to rob me in public, play the victim, use her kid, and when caught, she made it everyone's fault but her own. Ruiz nodded and said they'd be in touch for a statement and paperwork. I took my bags, hands shaking a bit now, and walked to my car. I sat inside for maybe 10 minutes before starting the engine. Just processing. You ever have something happen that doesn't fully hit you until you're home, sitting on your couch? That was me. I kept looking at the Coach bag like it was a trophy from a war. A week passed. Got a call from the police, confirmed the charges. Misdemeanor theft, disturbing the peace. They had witnesses, Stor footage, my receipts. Slam dunk. She had to show up to court. I went too. And here's where it got weirder. I walked into the courtroom, and there she was, sitting on the bench outside. No kid with her this time. She was dressed like she was going to church and pretending to read a Bible. I sat far away. She looked at me, real calm, and said, "You should have just given me the bag. We didn't need to go this far." I didn't even reply. I looked her dead in the face and went right into the courtroom. The judge looked through the evidence, the mall security report, my receipts, and the video footage from Macy's. You could see her snatching the bags. Her defense attorney tried to spin it as a misunderstanding fueled by stress, claiming she was overworked, dealing with a child meltdown and panicked. He said it was a moment of weakness. But the judge wasn't buying it. Then it came out that this wasn't her first incident. Apparently, she'd been kicked out of 2 other malls in the last year. Once for causing a scene over a returns policy at Nordstrom, and once for accidentally taking someone else's stroller, which had been loaded with shopping bags. She claimed it was confusion. The judge still didn't sentence her yet. Just said they'd be reviewing everything and would announce the consequences later. I left thinking that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, I got mail from someone I didn't know. No return address. Opened it. It was a handwritten letter. From her. The same woman who tried to snatch my shopping bags and scream her way into playing the victim. Now writing me like we were old friends. She said she was deeply sorry for what happened, that she was having a rough year, that she was struggling as a single mom, that her ex had left her, her job was awful, and that she acted out of desperation. But then the tone changed. She said I should consider dropping the charges so she could focus on her son and not have a record that would ruin her future. She wrote, "You seem like a decent woman. I'm sure you've made mistakes too. Think about what it must be like raising a kid alone. You can end this. I know you can." It felt manipulative, like a guilt trip dressed as an apology. What sealed it for me? At the end of the letter, she added, "P.S. You still don't need that bag." That's when I realized she wasn't sorry. Not really. She still thought she was right. She thought writing to me directly would make me fold. Like maybe I'd feel bad enough to back off. Maybe I'd be the one to drop it and she'd walk away from the whole thing, still thinking she'd won. But that's not what happened next. Because 2 days after I got the letter, someone broke into my car. Nothing was taken. But all my shopping bags, the same ones from that day, were ripped open and cut up with something sharp. The Coach purse? Slashed. The wallet? Gone. I filed a police report immediately. They said they couldn't confirm who did it without footage or witnesses, but the timing was suspicious. They also told me something else. They'd pulled her phone records from the day of the mall incident and found her texting someone right before she grabbed my bags. She texted, "I see a dumb woman walking with a Coach. She doesn't even need it. I'm gonna fix that." They had proof this was premeditated. Now it wasn't just a shoplifting case. It looked like planned theft and maybe retaliation if they could tie her to the car incident. I was furious. I felt violated all over again. This wasn't just about a bag anymore. This was someone who believed the world owed her, and if she didn't get what she wanted, she'd take it or destroy it out of spite. I called Officer Ruiz. "Me? What are my options now?" Ruiz, "Well, if this is what we think it is, she might have just dug herself into something bigger." A few days after filing the police report about my car getting vandalized, I got a call. Not from Ruiz this time, but from a woman who introduced herself as Detective Langston. She was calm but direct. "Langston, we need to ask you a few questions. There's been a development." Turns out, someone else had come forward. A woman named Carla, who worked part-time at a children's clothing store in that same mall. She'd seen the bag-snatching woman, let's call her Mall Monster, or MM for short, several times before. According to Carla, MM had a pattern. She'd come in, act like she was browsing, let her kid run around to distract the staff, and then grab stuff near the front of the store and walk out quickly, saying she'd be back to pay, or left her wallet in the car. Mall security had footage of at least 3 separate incidents, but since she always caused scenes and played the flustered mom card, they never followed through legally. Until now. Because what happened with me, it wasn't just some one-off mall meltdown. It was a setup. And Carla dropped a bigger bomb. She recognized MM's face from an Instagram profile she followed months ago for parenting tips. It was run by a woman using the name @MomArises, who posted motivational single mom content and luxury hauls, showing off makeup, bags, skincare, always claiming it was sponsored. But Carla always had a weird feeling about it. Because sometimes she'd post stuff that was clearly used, or tagged stores that didn't even sell the items. She once claimed to be an ambassador for a diaper brand that never confirmed her. Langston asked me to look at the account. I pulled it up. Private. I requested to follow. Got accepted 30 minutes later. And there it was. Her face. Full smile, heavy filter, with captions like, "Sometimes you gotta do what it takes to give your baby the best. She who hustles wins. Don't ask how I got it. Just ask why you didn't." What made me want to throw my phone across the room? In one of the older posts, she was holding the same Coach bag I had bought. The one she snatched. Posted 4 days before the mall incident. The caption? "Manifesting this. Watch me get it." Langston confirmed what I already knew. She'd seen me carrying the bag and made a decision. She wasn't impulsive. She was hunting. That's when I told Langston about the letter. And the car vandalism. They took it seriously. More than I expected. Turns out MM had a restraining order filed against her 3 years ago by her former roommate. Guess why? Unstable behavior, aggression over shared property, breaking into personal belongings after being denied money. Now they had a pattern. Langston asked if I'd received any DMs or strange messages lately. I said no. Then I thought about something. 2 nights before, I got a message request from a private account with no profile picture. It had said, "You're lucky I let you walk away that day." I ignored it and deleted it. But now I was wondering if I should have kept it. Langston had someone on their cyber unit dig into the IP from the message and cross-reference with known accounts linked to MM. Guess what? That burner account was created within 1 hour of her sending me the letter. She was watching me. That same day, I checked my Instagram stories, nothing public, just a photo of my dog and coffee, and noticed a strange username had viewed it. A name I didn't recognize. I clicked. 0 followers. 1 post. A quote graphic. She who lies will fall. I rise. Langston told me not to respond. She said, don't block her either. Let her keep watching. She thinks she's clever. Meanwhile, I get another letter. This time it's typed. Cold. Straight to the point. You've done enough damage. My lawyer will be contacting you for emotional distress and defamation. Defamation? For calling the police when someone literally robbed me in front of a crowd? She attached a fake character reference from her neighbor saying she was a loving mother and active community volunteer. The detective ran the name. No such person lived at her address. Langston's tone changed on the next call. Langston, we're looking at multiple charges now. Not just theft. Harassment. Possibly stalking. Tampering. False documents. They started watching her. Surveillance level. I was given an emergency contact line. I changed my locks. Got cameras installed at my place. I wasn't scared, but I wasn't dumb either. A week later, posted a public apology video on her at Momarize's account. She sat in a well-lit room with soft piano music in the background, looking tearful, holding her child on her lap. Said she was bullied by a stranger, that people were making things up, and how the justice system fails single mothers every day. The comment section was limited. She blocked me that day. Langston texted me a screenshot from a private investigator's report. Had tried to file a report against me. Claimed I had followed her to the parking lot. That I had yelled threats. That I had an obsession with her child. There were 0 witnesses to support her claim. Because it never happened. And she wasn't just making things up now. She was building a fake narrative. A fake victim role. Langston told me quietly, she's trying to provoke a settlement. If she can't win, she wants you to crack. She'll go on social media, cry her way into donations, and paint herself as a survivor. Seen it before. This wasn't a petty thief anymore. This was someone who had built her entire life on playing the victim to get free things, attention, sympathy, and now, when exposed, she was unraveling in real time. But what happened next made even Langston raise an eyebrow. Someone from MM's side tried to buy me off. A man claiming to be her cousin showed up at my work, my actual job, and left a note at the front desk. In it, he offered me $1,000 cash if I dropped everything and stopped cooperating with the police. He wrote, she's been through enough. Nobody got hurt. Just let it go. When my boss saw the note, he pulled security footage. Langston had the footage by the end of the day. They matched the guy's face to someone previously linked to a stolen credit card ring in Katy. And then the final twist for now. Langston called and said MM's ex-husband had reached out. He wanted to talk. He had something he thought I should know. And according to Langston, he wasn't surprised this was happening. Langston called and told me MM's ex-husband, Derek, had reached out. He saw her apology video and recognized the Coach bag in it. He said, she didn't own that bag when we were together. She never could have afforded it. He'd been quiet during their split, avoided legal trouble, tried to co-parent as peacefully as he could. But after this, he was done being silent. He wanted to meet. We met at a neutral location, a small coffee shop halfway between our neighborhoods. He came in alone. Early 40s, looked exhausted, but focused. No drama. Just facts. He sat down and said, you're not the first person she's done this to. Just the first who didn't back down. Then he pulled out a manila envelope. Inside, screenshots, messages, fake return labels, notes from her old journals she left behind when she moved out. She had a running list of women, stores, targets, things she wanted but didn't want to pay for. And under each one, what she'd done to try and get them, returns without receipts, guilt-tripping, gift card scams, pretending to be the wife of some made-up CEO to get discounts. There was even a section called Backup Stories with phrases like, play the single mom card hard. Cry if security shows up. Say the child is scared, always. She wasn't impulsive. This was a system. And Derek wasn't just coming to help me. He'd reached his breaking point because she was trying to get full custody, saying he was unfit because he didn't support her business. Her business being, whatever this scam lifestyle was. He gave me permission to share the file with Langston. The detective's reaction? Holy hell. She's cooked. And she was. Because now it wasn't just a theft case. It was fraud. Identity misuse. False reports. She was impersonating store employees online, leaving fake reviews under different names to tank businesses that caught her shoplifting. The burner accounts were linked back to her home Wi-Fi. Every lie she told unraveled fast. Then came the court hearing. I was sitting in the back row, quiet, calm. Mem walked in with her lawyer and fake confidence. She wore that same smug face, but you could tell it was cracking. Her eyes kept darting around the room. When the judge asked if there were any updates to present before sentencing, Langston walked in with Derek. Mem froze. The DA had approved a surprise submission, the folder of notes, screenshots, plus a recorded interview with Derek describing her long-term pattern of manipulation and theft. Her lawyer objected. Judge allowed it. She sat there stone-faced while they read out her notes. Every lie. Every planned fake story. Every mention of targeting weak-looking women. And when the judge asked her if she had anything to say for herself, she stood up, opened her mouth, then broke. Not into tears. Into rage. She screamed across the room, "You don't know what it's like. I had to do what I had to do." She looked directly at me. "You think you're so special because you have money and no kids and people listen to you." Security started moving in, but she wasn't done. "Everyone takes from someone. I just take from people who have enough." Judge shouted, "That's enough." And that was the moment. Not when the cuffs went back on. Not when she realized her ex just helped bury her in court. But when she looked around, breathing hard, and realized no one was on her side. Her own lawyer looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. The teenage girls who'd filmed her the day of the incident? One of them had shown up, too. She stood outside the courtroom afterward and whispered, "I hope she never sees a mall again." MM was sentenced to 18 months probation, community service, and mandatory psychological counseling. The court banned her from multiple retail chains for 5 years. Macy's blacklisted her completely. A civil suit for damages and harassment is still in process. As for me, I didn't feel like celebrating. I didn't want revenge confetti or a parade. I walked out of the courtroom and sat in my car for a long time. Just quiet. The damage wasn't the bag, or the slashed seats, or the creepy messages. It was how fast someone could turn your normal day into a nightmare, and how easily people can fake their pain just to take from others. Derek emailed me later. Said the judge ruled to deny her full custody. He got shared custody under conditions that she maintain a job and complete her counseling or risk losing parental rights. He thanked me. Said standing up made a ripple that helped more people than just me. I haven't replied yet. Langston closed the case and left me with one last line I keep thinking about. She said, "Some people live off of chaos until someone forces them to face the wreckage." It's true. Mem built her identity around being the victim until she ran out of people to blame. And when the mirror finally got held up to her face, she didn't see a struggling mom. She saw someone alone. She tried to reach out again. Sent one more message on a new account. "Maybe we could talk now that everything's settled?" I didn't reply. No anger. No hatred. Just nothing. She's not part of my story anymore. And I still have the Coach bag. Got it fixed. But I don't carry it. It's not that I'm afraid of it. It's just that I've learned some things come with memories too heavy to wear around. So I keep it in the closet, not as a trophy, not as a warning. Just as proof. That no matter how normal a day starts, you never know what kind of storm someone might try to drag you into. And that you can still walk out dry if you don't let go of what's right.